Hello, my Disney besties. Whoa, whoa. What the frick was it? Sorry, go ahead. Welcome back, my Disney besties, to the channel. And if you're new here, then you've just made your way into the Disneyverse, and I'm so happy that you decided to come along. And if you're a recurring guest, then I'm really happy for you guys to click back on my channel so we can have some fun together. As we all know, Disney has a fun little tradition to make our already beloved animated Disney movies into live actions. And as you guessed it, today I am going to see which one is the most superior. This video is another sit back and relax as I compare and contrast all of Disney's animated movies and their live action counterparts, but only the ones that have the same title. So like for an example, Cruella, Maleficent, I'm not going to discuss any prequels or sequels that don't have like any relation with the animated title. So, but if you guys want me to discuss those movies, because believe me, there are a lot, just comment down below and I will make that happen for you guys. Let's just fly into this. First, we are going to talk about Aladdin, which the animated movie came out in 1992, and it had its remake all the way in 2019. Let me just say that even though Will Smith's Genie was really good, he put his own spin on it, and I really liked that. Robin Williams' Genie is always gonna be the superior winner. Like, no doubt about that. I'm pretty sure everyone can agree with me on that one. But I'm not, like, saying anything bad about Will Smith. Will Smith was amazing in Genie. He was really funny. And that's all I can say about him. No complaints. So I loved how detailed the live action was. Like, obviously you can tell where they were. Like, in culture references, I love how they made Jasmine more costume. I thought of it as an adult that it was kind of weird for her to, like, pretty much every animated movie, they're in the same outfit, and it makes me upset. I don't know why. It didn't bother me as a kid, but now it does, because obviously it takes place multiple days. And I just thought that since Jasmine is royalty, she would have multiple outfits through the week, not just one outfit like for every day. So I liked that part a lot. I liked how it was her costumes were based on actual, like, what they wore back in the day where she's from. It was very cultural, accurate. I loved it. Especially I loved her, like, iconic blue costume. Like right here in the animated one, you can see there's a lot of like skin showing, especially since she's only 15 in the animated movie. But in the live action, she's covered up more. You can see a little skin, obviously, but the costumers did really well on the costume part. Not just her costume, it was just everyone's got Aladdin. Okay, let me just say, Aladdin's costume, his street rat costume to his Prince Ali costume was really well, and Jafar's, I can go on and on and on about the costume with that. I just loved those costumes. Love how they gave Jasmine more of a deeper meaning to be in the movie. I know in the animated film she was made out to be like kind of stubborn, but that's what I all got into. But in the live action she got more of a story, we got more of a situation, and then we figured out what happened to Jasmine's mom. Because in pretty much every Disney movie, every princess, they have lost their mom somehow. I don't know what it is, but that is, so I thought that was a really cool detail for Disney to put that in there. They added more characters. Dahlia, I love Dahlia's character. Dahlia's character is so funny, and I love how she falls in love with Genie in the end. I just thought that was a really cute thing to put in there. I liked how they changed some of the lyrics in Prince Ali and Arabian Nights. Obviously they didn't take away the charm that we knew in the animated version, but they made it more age appropriate and not so offensive. So I liked that. Now for the animated version, it's such nostalgia, and I thought they did the animation, the colors, it definitely caught your eye. It was very colorful and I loved it. And once again, I'm gonna talk about Robin Williams. Robin Williams, perfect. You can't beat the animated version. You can't beat any movie with Robin Williams in it. That is my opinion. It kept the original songs in the live action, but I'm gonna say for the purpose of my talk for the animated, that the animated song was amazing. We got first introduced to the songs, which was perfect. I would say that the whole new world, obviously they use the same song, but they changed it a little for the live action. I'm gonna say I wasn't a fan of the live action Whole New World, so my verdict, I'm going to say I like the animated one better. Cinderella. The animated one came out in 1950 and the live action counterpart came out in 2015. Now I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. I think this is gonna be the hardest comparison in this whole video, because so I first saw Cinderella live action in theaters, and it took my absolute breath away. I feel like Disney did a fantastic job creating the story, keeping the original story, adding new content in, giving Cinderella a new purpose, but still keeping her old purpose, if that makes sense. I feel like, so costumers, I feel like a lot of costumers for Disney, you gotta pick the right costumers for each Disney film, because some people really nail it and other people will just it doesn't live up to the animated version. But let me tell you, the costumes for Cinderella, I feel like they're my favorite costumes in any Disney live action movie ever created to date. It's so stunning, and the acting choices for pretty much every character in the live action I loved. Oh my god, Lily James as Cinderella, they did amazing with, oh my gosh, she was so perfect. She looked so much like Cinderella. This is Lily James and this is Cinderella. Look, there's, oh my gosh, it looks like they took her out of the story. Oh my god. Let's talk about Cinderella's live action blue ball gown. What? absolutely stunning. Like chef's kiss, no complaints. Oh my god, that has to be my favorite dress that has ever been created for a Disney princess. Ever. So, now my one true complaint about this movie, I know, I just said I loved it, no complaints, but I do have some like old tweaks. So if you're a true Disney fan, which you probably are since you're watching my videos, you would know that Prince Charming's first name is Henry, so it's Prince Henry. But in the live action, they went with a completely different name for the Prince Charming character. They called him Kit, that was his nickname, but he didn't really have a official name to him in the movie, which I was a little bummed, but to me, I know it's a live action, and I know that in live reality, animals do not talk. I feel like that the animators did the animals so much justice. I know that they didn't talk, but they kind of like did a lot of action, so they didn't have to talk. Like their actions spoke louder than their actual voices, which I thought was a really cute idea. When I was rewatching Cinderella in the live action, I counted at least 3 songs in the animated film, and for the live action I counted at least 2.5. There were a lot of like newer songs that I heard in the live action that wasn't in the animated. The one thing that I would have done differently, again, is, you know how there's a song in the animated version that goes Cinderella, Cinderella, nice and big, Cinderella, da 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 da, sung by the mice. Obviously that wasn't in the live action, but they did. I feel like they substituted that with a few other songs. Oh my gosh, the song, oh my god, the lullaby that was in the live action, I love that so much. Oh my gosh. So my verdict, at the end of the day, both directors did an amazing job. Obviously, they were different directors, so different ideas, and I feel like each director let their idea shine while still keeping the once director alive in a way. But I would have to say that I liked the live action better. The Little Mermaid, which the animated version came out in 1989, and then the live action came out in 2023. I so much love The Little Mermaid as a kid. I remember actually dressing up as Ariel as a kid. The live action was really good. I loved it so much. Not because... So I'm a theater kid, as you may probably know, and they had David Diggs. They had David Diggs as Sebastian, and they had Lin-Manuel Miranda, which, if you don't know, is the creator of the musical Hamilton. And if you're a theater kid, I'm probably guessing that you've heard Hamilton somehow. Both David Diggs and Lin-Manuel Miranda was in Hamilton, so they have theater background. And since The Little Mermaid is like a musical, they did really well at casting him as Sebastian, and his accent. I just loved David Diggs' accent and Sebastian. I just thought that was really cute, and I love how they didn't like get rid of that, because some people like to get rid of like old like animated movie accents. That was the character based because they don't want to offend people, which is like good for them thinking about that, but it's like it loses some of the joy that we had watching the animated one. That is my spin on that. I love how they brought in like more the Jamaican sound, like more Caribbean sounds. So again, back to the theater thing. In the Broadway Little Mermaid, it leans towards like the old story plot to the Little Mermaid, which if you don't know, King Triton is Ursula's older brother, but King Triton bans Ursula from the kingdom. That's why she becomes evil. And in the animated version, they didn't have that. They just went with something else. But in the live action, they brought that back a little. To be honest, I was a little skeptical that Melissa McCarthy was gonna be cast as Ursula, because I thought Melissa couldn't sing. She's a good actress, I know that. But when I watched this movie in theaters, I was blown away. She sang, it wasn't like the highest that you can sing Poor Unfortunate Soul, but she did that. She did it so well, and I love that. I love how they didn't lose that theatrical quality that Poor Unfortunate Souls had, even though Melissa doesn't come from like a trained musical industry. And I like how in the live action they filled a major plot hole in the film, which is, if you guys already know, you're a true Disney fan. But the major plot hole is that in the animated version, during Poor Unfortunate Souls, Ariel signs a contract indicating that she can write, and she loses her voice and goes on land, and she's trying to communicate at first. And I think we all was wondering, like, why didn't she just write a letter? Why didn't she just write to Eric that she was under a spell and stuff? So in the live action, they fixed that, and instead of her signing something, Ursula made her take a scale off her tail and drop it in the cauldron, indicating that she cannot read or write. There are a few things in the live action that didn't really make sense. So Flounder, I'm gonna say this right now. They could have done Flounder better. I know that they were doing the live action like style better, but it's like, I felt like because Flounder was already CGI, why didn't you make him like more like cartoony? Because he just looked scary to me. Like, they did Sebastian really well, but for Flounder, no. Prince Eric, they gave him such a bigger character role in his background. They gave him a song, which, guys, I fell in love with the song. Oh my gosh. The first part of the movie, they cut out the sister song, which I was bummed about. I wish that they could have kept that, because that was one of my favorite songs that they had in the animated version. I cannot not talk about our leading lady, Halle Bailey. She was an amazing Ariel. I hate how she got so much backlash for being like an African American, but like, if you think about it, Ariel is a fish. Like, when you're a fish, you don't know what like race they are, but she had such an amazing voice. And I love how her hair was red, but it complemented her natural hair. So that was, I love that. And also, Aquafina as Scuttle. Guys, perfect decision on Disney's part. Oh my gosh. Aquafina did such an amazing job. I loved how she got her own song. Verdict. I'm gonna have to go with the live action on this. Dumbo was released, the animated version, in 1941, and the live action version came out in 2019. I loved Dumbo as a kid. I would sing the song Baby Mine all the friggin' time. Seriously, my parents were probably sick of me singing that. So I can confidently say that the animated version was really fun. It was really funny. I loved, my God, I especially loved the elephants on parade. I remember a lot of my friends being scared of that scene, but I loved that scene. Now for the live action, it was interesting. So when I heard that Tim Burton was going to be helping a lot with this film, I was skeptical because Tim Burton is like very dark, very eerie, and Dumbo is like the complete opposite of that. It's like very circusy, and when you think of circus, you don't think of eerie and dark and goth. You think of cheery and fun, exciting, and I was just very skeptical, and I didn't think that was gonna mix very well. But as I like to say with every Disney movie or any movie in that matter, I like to take it with a grain of salt and just watch it and see what I like. I was blown away. I was not expecting what I watched, but I was very intrigued. I loved it. So they kept a lot of the circus like cheery theme, but they also gave it more of an eerie tone. This style was definitely very unique because in the animated version, obviously it's more like sad and emotional. In the live action, it was sad and emotional, but it wasn't as like sad emotional, if that makes sense. There was a lot of like things that I didn't really necessarily like in the live action, like how they added new characters, and I felt like I was watching a whole different movie sometimes because they would not focus on Dumbo, which is literally the title of the movie. I wasn't really seeing like Dumbo a lot. I was seeing a lot of like new characters' backstories and like what they were doing, and I just felt like that was really like risky on their part. It worked for some scenes, but in other scenes it just didn't work. No Timothy Q Mouse? Like really? Live action, like we miss Timothy Q Mouse, but maybe it's just me and I just wanted it to be real. But there was a scene where there was a mouse in a cage with a red jacket, and I felt like that was like a nod to Timothy Q Mouse. Maybe not, I don't know. But all in all, I just missed Timothy Q Mouse. I will get credit. Oh my God, the visuals were stunning. I loved them so much. And they did have elephants on parade, pink elephants on parade, excuse me. They did have that, but it was different. They had an instrumental version of it, like as like movie scores, but they had a scene where someone was blowing bubbles and they just appeared and they were pink. So I liked that part. I liked how they gave that a more modern twist. The verdict, I feel like it's so here's the thing. The animated version was meant to be funny, and it was funny. funny, heartfelt, and I felt like in the live action, like some of the humor was put away and it was more dark. But I mean, in a way, it kind of worked. But I mean, it was funny. They made it a lot funny when Danny DeVito was in it. I think he was so funny. I'm gonna have to say it's animation on my part. Sorry. So Pete's Dragon animation came out in 1977, and the live-action Pete's Dragon came out in 2016. The live-action, the CGI was absolutely amazing. What they did to Elliot, the dragon. Oh my god, he looked so real. Oh my god, it was amazing. Oh my god, and the person, the child that played Pete was phenomenal. I think he did a really good job keeping that like innocent, like cartoony Elliot that we saw in the animated one, even though that was kind of a weird. So in the animated version back in 1977, it's kind of tricky to compare these two because that version was also kind of live action but more animated, but this one was like completely live action, no animation, just CGI. So I would believe it's not really a fair comparison, but for the sake of this video, it's a fair comparison to me. The thing that I can complain about the live action is that I felt like it was slow paced. They made the story a lot slower, and it's just some characters, like some side characters, I felt like were not necessary in the film. They were just there to like fill in some holes. But other than that, it was really heartfelt. It was really sweet, and oh my god, I'm a sucker for like true-hearted Disney movies, and this is one of them. Now, the animated version of Pete's Dragon was very fun and whimsical. It felt like you were in a fever dream sometimes, and I love that in films. It was very whimsical. So for this one, I feel like this is a tie for me because I like the animated version back in 1977, but I also like this version. But like I said, since they're like kind of live action both, I can't like truly compare them. But I mean, I would, if I had to. I know I said a tie and I still stick to it as a tie, but for me, I would have to give live action like a half a point higher. Beauty and the Beast. The animated one came out in 1991 and the live action came out in 2017. Animated one has been a timeless classic from the beginning, and I feel like not a lot of Disney movies can even come close to how amazing the visuals of this animated classic was. And the fact that so most of the cast in the animated version came from musical backgrounds, like Lumiere. The guy that played Lumiere, he was on Broadway before he started voice acting. And Angela Lansbury, she also came from a Broadway background, who had a lot of experience before she took on this role. So that was a major plus on that part, especially with her rendition of Beauty and the Beast. Like, no one can touch that. No one can even come close to how perfected that song was sang by her, in my opinion. Okay, the live action though. Wow. One word, wow. they did really well with casting Dan Evans as the Beast. I feel like they did an amazing job doing that. And Josh Gad as LeFou. Guys, oh my gosh, he did an incredible job. Oh my gosh, I don't know what. I just always see Josh Gad as someone, as a funny person, not like serious. I know he's done serious movies before, but I just see him as his fun, loving character. And that's true. LeFou is a fun, loving character, and let's not talk about Luke Evans as freaking Gaston. Are you kidding? Oh my god, he was amazing. He looked so much like Gaston. It was weird. And his actual song, Gaston, amazing. Like, he's one of the actors that I didn't know can sing, but his pipes were amazing. Like, obviously it doesn't compare to the animated voice of Gaston, but it came to a really close call. Now, Emma Watson was a really good Belle. She, oh my god, she like was Belle at that moment. Oh my gosh, she was an amazing she acted really well at that part. I absolutely loved how they gave her character more of a background, like what happened to her mom, because what happened to her mom has shaped her into the character that she was in the live action. And I just felt like it was amazing. And I know that the animated Belle was kind of the same, like outcast, obviously brave, loyal, stubborn, but I feel like the live action Belle, she had like more character to her than the animated one, in my opinion. Okay, the one thing that I would have changed about Emma Watson playing Belle is that she could have had more voice training, only because, so the animated Belle, Paige O'Hara, she could sing and she was like musically trained too, obviously, but Emma's not really. She could sing, but she could have sung better. I'm sorry to point that out, but that's true. Also, it's like I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and if you know, Emma Watson played Hermione in the whole Harry Potter franchise. So it was just kind of hard to see her as a Disney princess. Like, all I could see was Hermione Granger. I just thought that was really funny. Okay, can we not? Okay, and we cannot not talk about the live action Lumiere the voice. Like, Ewan McGregor? Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Like, oh my god. So, I'm gonna keep saying this throughout this whole video. I was also, like, kind of nervous seeing that Erwin was gonna be voicing Lumiere, but when I saw this in theaters, I didn't know he could sing. I don't think anyone knew he could sing. He sang Be Our Guest perfectly. Like, obviously they changed like some high notes and low notes, but it's like, what? It was an amazing piece. Be Our Guest, perfect. And I just, oh my gosh. And his accent, his French accent. Yes. And if you know, Erwin McGregor is Scottish, so he has an accent, so he does, so, hear me out. So he does an English accent for Star Wars. And now he did a French accent for this. And oh my gosh, it was perfect. Oh my gosh. It made me believe he was actually French. Like, I was blown away by, I didn't know he could sing. And yeah, good job. There were new songs. There were new songs added to the live action that weren't in the animated version. Okay. The song Evermore, sung by the Beast. Pure standing ovation. Like, how can you not clap every time you hear that last note? It was perfect. And just like in The Little Mermaid, they filled in a lot of major plot points, like if everyone visited the castle and everyone knew about the castle, like how come no one like put two and two together saying that what happened to all the people that worked in the castle? Or another point is that in the animated version, Maurice and Philippe the horse go into the woods and they don't get to the castle. Maurice stumbles upon the castle, but Philippe has already like galloped away. And then he takes Belle to find her papa, Maurice, but he takes her to the castle, as in he already knew where the castle was, even though he's never been to the castle. So that was an issue for me, but in the live action they changed that for both him and the horse went to the castle, so indicating that the horse knew where the castle was. So I just thought that was really cute. Again, if you're a true Disney fan, you know that there are a lot of deleted scenes that was supposed to be in the animated version that didn't make it, but some of them did make it in the live action, which I love. I wish there is one deleted song that I wish could have been in both the animated and the live action, and there's a song called Human Again, which if you look on YouTube, there is a scene that they already did animate, kinda, but they took it out because I guess it was too long. So yeah, that happened. But I wish they could have put that in the live action since they were already putting in some cut songs. I'm gonna have to give this one to the live action. Yeah, live action all the way. Lion King. The animated version came out in 1994 with the live action counterpart coming out in 2019. This movie is beyond legendary. It cannot be touched. Here's the thing. My point is that if they can't touch the original script, and if they do, it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like the director knew that, so he didn't change a lot of things. He just added a lot of... So in the animated version, there was a lot of plot holes that didn't really make sense. Like in a lot of early animated movies, they had those, but in the now live action, they're fixing them. And I feel like the director didn't really fix a lot of them because, like I said, this movie cannot be touched, and if it is in any way, it will not make sense. And so he left those alone, but he added new ones to like distract us from that. So I just thought that was really good. I'm gonna say this, the hyenas in the live action kind of scared me. And I don't really say that a lot about a lot of movies. The hyenas in the live action scared me. They were more vicious than in the animated ones. Oh my god, I fell in love with the animated hyenas so much as a kid. I love them. I thought it was a really cute and cool idea to put Beyonce in the casting. She was Nala, if you guys didn't know. She was a really good Nala. I feel like her voice matched perfectly, and her singing chops obviously are breathtaking. And her counterpart was Simba was amazing too. If you don't know, he also comes from a Broadway background, so that was perfect too. I was a little weirded out at first, I'm not gonna lie, about the animation, but then as I watched it more, I grew to love it, and I just love the visuals. The visuals are stunning. The one major thing that I would have done differently is casting Pumbaa better. Pumbaa and Timon. I'm sorry, but in the animated version, they obviously could sing. In the live action, they could not. Sorry, they did. No hate is going towards the people that voiced Timon and Pumbaa, especially Seth Rogen voiced Pumbaa. He was great. He was funny, but he can't sing. I'm sorry, he can't. Maybe with a little like practice he could, but I'm sorry, no hate on him whatsoever. He is a funny dude. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. James Earl Jones. Rest in peace, by the way. Love him so much. I love how he did his original voice. He came back from 1994 to 2019. He voiced the same character, which I loved. Yeah, it's just, oh my, I feel like the scene where Scar betrays his brother, they did great. Like, they did not. So the way I think about it is, in a lot of live actions, Disney today likes to downgrade a lot of the sad scenes because they're too sad or too violent in a way. But they did not do this in this one. I felt they did not touch it. I love that scene a lot, and the underscore, are you kidding me? Great. But yeah, verdict, even though I like this one, was visually great, I didn't love it, but it's not on one of my least favorite. But because of me and loving classics, I'm gonna go with the animation one. Lady and the Tramp. The animated one came out in 1955, following its live-action counterpart in 2019. Live action had realistic CGI dogs because they did use actual dogs with a little bit of CGI, obviously, because dogs are unpredictable. But I think they did really well on that part. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like the live action had more story plot added to it, and it didn't really have a lot of human characters in it, which I love. And if they did, they were like background characters, and that's the whole point. Like Lady and the Tramp is based on Lady and like Tramp. It's not based on humans, which I love that they didn't take away from that part. Oh my god, the music. The music. They did not touch the music. He's a Tramp. Bella Notte was still there, and they was, oh my god, they did an amazing job with it. With a modern twist, I love it. They did like more like cultural appropriate instruments, but other than that, they did not touch like the lyrics. It was just amazing. So verdict, even though I said a lot of positive things about the live action, I'm gonna go with the animated for its nostalgic charm and untouchable magic. Pinocchio animated version coming out in 1940 and its live action counterpart coming out in 2022. When it comes to the live action, the number one thing that I love so much is that they added a character, and not just a character with mobility issues. And I feel like in a lot of movies, directors don't want to put people with mobility issues in the movies because they don't want to like accidentally offend someone. But in my opinion, like, not everyone's gonna agree on something, not everyone is gonna like it or dislike it. There are always gonna be issues someone has or something. So I just say, like, go for it, but also be cautious about it, because there is a difference between being disrespectful or like not trying to be disrespectful, but sometimes it kind of comes off like that. I don't know. But back to that. She got not only a musical number, but she was a major character in the film, which I love. So I feel like myself, I also feel like this live action film was a little darker. And not saying that because animation Pinocchio was also dark, but this was darker as in Monstro, the whale in the animated film. So in the original book of Pinocchio, he's not a whale, he's more like a sea monster. And the director knew that and decided to write Maestro as a sea monster, but kind of like resembling himself as a whale to like nod to the original Maestro. The very major thing that I've noticed that is just, so in the animated film, obviously it came out in the 40s, so they didn't think about it and it wasn't really an issue like today. But in the animated version, they had a lot of drinking and smoking involved, especially children doing that. And I know today it's not like a really good like thing to promote that on TV, because it is a major issue today. And I like how they did. So first of all, they didn't make the drinks look anything like beer, and just in case that it did, they like kept saying root beer, root beer, root beer, and there was not a cigar in sight in the the treasure or the pleasure island scene. And I'm gonna say again, Luke Evans, which was also a villain in this movie. I feel like he does villains so well. I don't know why. He's a good person in real life, but he does villains so well. He did amazing in this film also. The one thing that I would have done differently is that I know I said that it was a good part on their end to not involve like smoking or drinking, but that one scene that Pinocchio got drunk in the animated film was funny to me. I feel like they could have approached that like more cautiously and sensitively, but it's like people get ticked off by the slightest things nowadays, and I'm like, it's a movie, guys. It's supposed to be funny. And yeah, more importantly, they're trying to keep that nostalgic, funny feeling that we had when we first watched Pinocchio. But on the other side, I'm like, you know, it wouldn't work in this day of age. It's just very confusing. I love how they added Geppetto a backstory, as in why he decided to make all these clocks and why he decided to like build Pinocchio in the first place. I just thought that was really cute. And on the topic of Geppetto, Tom Hanks as Geppetto, that was really, I love that. Oh my god, Tom Hanks just gave off that like grandfather vibe. I don't know why. And also the blue, I love how they gave the blue fairy more of a purpose in the film, but also like make some in the animated movie, the blue fairy like helps Pinocchio out anytime he gets in trouble. But in this one, she was kind of a less character. She helped Pinocchio in a way, but like Pinocchio had to like get out of situations himself, which like gave his character more depth, and I just like that. I love how, oh my gosh, Cynthia Revo as the Blue Fairy. Her rendition of Wish Upon a Star. Breathtaking. Oh my god, a new timeless classic song that has been put into the books because of her. This one is gonna be hard for me again, but since I have to choose at some point in this video, I would have to say the animation one. The animated one is like untouchable too. So the verdict, it's kind of hard. Pretty much every Disney movie that I have a deep connection to is hard to compare to. But because I have to, for the sake of this video, I would have to say that the live action, I felt like there was more story and more like visual, like to look at. Mulan. The anime version came out in 1998 and the live action counterpart came out in 2020. Now, maybe if I've seen it in theaters, it would have been different, my different opinion. But because this came out during the COVID times, this went straight to Disney Plus and not in theaters. Maybe they'll do a re-release in the theaters, and I'll watch it in theaters and see if it makes my opinion different. But I'm just gonna come out and say it. The animated one was funny, musical, and very lighthearted. The live action was completely opposite. There were no musicals. The characters that we know to love in the animated version, not including Mulan, was nowhere to be found. There was no Mushu, which that felt a little off to me. It was very dark, which Mulan is a movie about war, which kind of makes sense. It's dark. The fighting scenes were amazing though. I don't really have a lot to say about the live action. I can say this. They added a little sister. If you guys don't know, in the animated version, Mulan was supposed to have a little sister, but they cut that because they wanted Mulan to like seem more alone. But they added the sister to the live action, which worked. She was funny in her own way, but it's like it defeated the purpose of Mulan being quote unquote alone. Oh my god. The positive thing I can say about this movie is that the costumes, they spared no expense with the costumes. It was very culturally accurate and I loved it. Wish that they could have made the matchmaker more of a bigger character because she was like big and alive in the animated version. The one thing that didn't really set good with me at all is that when she was younger, her backstory is that she was already trained in martial arts. The whole purpose of the animated movie was that she did not fight at all. She was not trained at all. So in the live action, she basically came into the war knowing how to fight. And that just didn't sit good with me. In the end, the end credits, they did add in a song, Brave, Loyal, and True, sung by Christina Aguilera, which, if you don't know, in the animated version, when the credits were rolling, she did sing Reflection, which I like how Christina came back after all those years to sing another song. But other than that, there was no songs whatsoever. There were movie scores, but no singing. Like the musical part was gone. So verdict, animated, no questions needed. Alice in Wonderland, the animated version coming out in 1951, and the live action one coming out in 2010. How can I put this? Alice in Wonderland is a chaos in itself. It's a beautifully messed up fever dream movie that holds nostalgia for a lot of us, especially if you are very curious about life, which I am. So I remember dressing up as Alice. So I like how they gave a lot of the major characters more story depth, and they made like the side characters that we know and love in the animated version more of a story plot in the live action. And I love the major plot twists. There were so many plot twists, and I'm not gonna reveal all of them because you guys should watch Alice in Wonderland if you have not already, live action, because it's amazing. And oh my god, the casting. Okay, there are two major characters. There are two major characters that I thought that the casting was phenomenal, and that was Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter and Helena Bonham Carter as the Red Queen. Queen of Hearts, sorry. They did such an amazing job, and I don't know what it is, like, Johnny Depp is just, like, drawn to crazy, like, unhinged characters, and I just felt like that's his vibe, and it's just that Mad Hatter is exactly that, and oh my god, he did such an amazing job with that, and oh my gosh. Like, I feel like Walt Disney himself would have been proud of the director that made this movie. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay, so I know I said I wasn't gonna do like any major spoilers, like major plot twists, but here's one that I absolutely loved. She's been there before. So in the animated version, she's about 13, like 14 or something. We don't know exactly what age she is in the live action, but it's told that she's been to Wonderland before as a little girl. So I'm probably guessing she's about like 18, maybe 17 or something, I don't know. But she's been there before. That was major, like one of the major plot points that we found. It was a lot more dark, especially the dragon. They definitely took a lot of the original source that the book had. If you haven't read the book, I recommend it. It's a long book, but it shares a lot of secrets that both the movies don't have, but the book does. They definitely took a lot of the book source and put it in the movie, which I loved. I still love it. The thing that really was weird to me was that the flower scene, I know it's supposed to be like dark and eerie, but it's like in the animated version, I loved the flower song, and I was a little bummed that the flower song was not in the live action. So my verdict, even though I like the live action of Alice in Wonderland, I'm gonna have to give it to the animated version for its pure nostalgia and imagination, and I just love the vibrant colors. And the Jungle Book, the animated one, came out in 1967, and with its live action coming out in 2016. So when it came to the live action, I remember being absolutely blown away when I first saw this. The CGI was really well done. I love how they gave Mowgli's biological parents, or at least his dad. So we know what happened to his parents. He was killed by Shere Khan. So technically, in the live action, they've met before, which I remember my jaw dropping because I just thought that made more sense. Because if you think about it, in the animated version, why does Shere Khan have so much beef with a human? Like, has he not seen a human before? Okay, the voices were semi-perfect. The voice of Shere Khan, Idris Elba, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but here he is. Guys, I don't know what about his voice that gives him such a dark, eerie, villain-like voice, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but he did Shere Khan so well. And okay, Baloo as Bill Murray was amazing. He was so funny. Baloo in the animated version was funny. In the live action, he was funny. Bill Murray is such a funny character, and they gave Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson was the voice of the snake, but because the snake was depicted as a girl snake, her name wasn't like mentioned briefly. It was mentioned briefly, but not a lot. Her song, Stay With Me. We all know Scarlett Johansson can sing. If you guys didn't know, you guys look her up. She can sing. And oh my gosh. The song is meant to captivate you. And so the song was based on the song sung by Jim Cummings in the animated one called Trust in Me. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, they kept that eerie tone that was in the animated version and just brought it to the live action. I only say semi-perfect because I was thrown off by King Louie. As you know, King Louie was this like swinging, jazzy, like kind of poppy ape in the animated version. Which he was an ape. He was huge in the animated version. Like, I didn't understand why they made him so huge. Maybe the directors wanted to depict him as a true king. I don't know. But his song, Be Like You, Christopher Walken, who voiced King Louie, I feel like Disney could have done better. No hate on Christopher Walken. He's such an amazing person, amazing actor, but he was just not right for this role. So, my verdict, even though the live action gets a major point down for King Louie, because that was one of my favorite characters in the film for the live animated version, I'm gonna have to give this one to the live action. I just loved it. It was terrifyingly good, and I just catch myself watching it more than the animated film, even though the animated film, like I said before, is a timeless classic, and it holds one of my favorite Disney songs, Bare Necessities. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the animated version coming out in 1937, and the live action coming out in 2025. I want to remind everyone that these are my opinions only, and I ask you to be kind in the comments, because I feel like a lot of you are gonna not agree with me on this, or you might, I don't know. So for me, a 24-year-old die-hard Disney fan who takes every Disney movie with a grain of salt and watch it, even though I have a lot of people say do not waste your money on going to the theaters because it will not be worth it. I saw it in the theaters because I wanted to see for myself. That said, the live action Snow White and Seven Dwarfs could have been, how do you say it, better. So here's why. when it was first announced, it was 2 years ago, and there was a lot of conversation because at the time, before they announced that they were making a live action, they already casted Rachel Zegler as Snow White. There was a lot of backlash because, as you may know, Rachel Zegler is African American, and Snow White, the whole point of Snow White is skin white as snow. And I felt like Disney disregarded that and just went with their guts, which is a big step for Disney, and I congratulate them for taking risks. But it's like Snow White was the first Disney princess ever created, and it was Disney's first full-length feature film that broke so many records. And I just felt like they changed so much about it that I felt like I was watching a whole different movie with like copyrighted characters. So because Rachel Zegler was picked to play Snow White, they did change it to make more sense as to why she was named Snow White, because in the animated film it is said that she is named Snow White because her skin was white as snow. In the live action, she was named Snow White because she was born during a snowstorm. Another thing that really made me upset, and it made a lot of people upset, is that Disney announced that they were gonna do CGI dwarves. And they were doing that because they didn't want to offend people with dwarfism. But in my mind, I'm like, you're offending them by not including them. And a lot of the actors with dwarfism, that's how they live. Like, that's how they get paid. But then, when I saw the movie, I realized there was a character that had dwarfism. Like, I wondered if they added that character last minute to like die down the negative comments or something. I don't know. The costumes were they were somewhat good. So for the Snow White costume, it didn't sit well with me. I liked her maid costume, like in the first act of the film, but her major blue and yellow gown, it did not sit right with me. It felt like it was plucked straight from the animated film onto her, which in some cases it works, but in other cases it does not, specifically because of this costume right here. This is a lot cartoony, and I just felt like it didn't really sit well with the live action version of her, because it just felt like very goofy and very like cosplay-ish. I feel like they could have renovated it to make it more like culturally accurate, because the Evil Queen's costume, now they gave her a completely different Evil Queen outfit. Like, they gave her this, which is stunning. I loved it so much. And then in one scene where she sings, she is given a musical number, which I was like, what? But I loved it. That is like the major thing as to why I kind of liked Snow White live action. But they did have her original animated costume, but they altered it to make it more like live action and more modern. So I was wondering why they did that to her and not Snow White. There's a lot of things that I didn't quite depict as likable in the film, but the one thing, oh my god, the major thing that didn't sit a lot with me is that Dopey talked. So if you know the animated version, Dopey is one of the dwarves that is non-verbal. Like, he does not talk, but his actions are really like out there, and it's just, he's really funny and lovable, and he is lovable in the live action. But the thing is, we found out in the end that he is a narrative of the story, and that did not feel right to me, like, at all. The verdict may come as a shock to you guys, but I'm gonna have to go with the animation on this part. Lilo and Stitch, the animated version came out in 2002, with live action coming out in 2025. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm completely biased on this whole movie because Lilo and Stitch has been and will always be my favorite Disney movie of all time. So I can confidently say that the animation version was very nostalgic. It was very crisp. The version will obviously hold a very deep place in my heart because it has everything. It has emotionality, it has funniness, it just has the nostalgic that can also not be touched. But with the live action, they did touch it, and they succeeded very much. They added a lot of the same content that was put in the animation version, but obviously, since it was live action, they put in a lot of accurate cultural authenticity in it, and I loved that. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this movie because I did already put out a whole video on my opinion on the live action and the animated. So if you want to go watch that, that's on my channel, up and running. So my verdict, I'm not going to tell you on this video. So you guys should go watch that video to get my points. So with that, you add all the points up, and the winner is obviously you guys are allowed to have your own opinion, and in the end, it doesn't matter which one is better. Some people might have different opinions than others. Alright guys, so that is the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed sitting back as I listed out my favorite or non-favorite live action versus animated counterparts. And I hope I inspired you guys to rewatch every Disney counterpart because a lot of them are really good, and I feel like Disney is stepping up their game. And I also feel like in the end, it's like, it depends on what director is directing what movie. It's just, and if you guys would want. That's it for me today. Remember, stay safe, stay nice, and don't forget to create your own Disneyverse. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.